disgrace.
It is a disgrace. It is a disgrace. And you know what else is a disgrace? To have a two-term congressional representative that lies to your face.
Yeah.
I'm tired of that. And I'm tired of being told that we're not allowed to call it a lie, you're supposed to say misrepresented or deceived. She lied to our faces several times. She looked you in the eye and said she wouldn't, and then she did.
Right.
I'm tired of having a government that spits in my face all the time. And you talk about, she wants to bring up Medicare and other things. She cut $500 billion from Medicare, $200 billion from Medicare Advantage, and then had the guts to say she strengthened the program. Only in Washington does it work that way. And you're right, it's not about, I mean, obviously we're going to talk about the issues we care about, the details. It's about the basic principles, and it's about some integrity right now. Gabrielle Giffords took her husband on a first-class trip to Copenhagen on our dime, and then when asked to reimburse the taxpayer, us, for airfare, five-star accommodations, she writes us a check for $400-some. That's right. That is just blatantly spitting in our face. And I understand $400 in the grand scheme of things is nothing compared to the $5 trillion she spent before that. But come on, what have we sent there right now?
That's the mentality of the liberal elite. That we know better. She stood there and she heard these people. There were people in wheelchairs, people from all walks of life who were telling them their concerns about health care. And then she voted for health care, and she has an ad the night after you were elected talking about how you're going to kill Social Security. She just voted for something that is going to take $500 billion out of Medicare, and Medicare is not an entitlement. It's something people paid into for 30 or 40 years.
I agree,
And
but
now
again, that's what we get in Washington right now. We get Gabrielle Giffords, who supports amnesty, who's defunded our border fence, and now that it's election year, she's missed border security. She actually sent a representative to a forum I was just at that called her, he called her, in the words that she wrote for him, a moderate, fights against her party, fights against Nancy Pelosi, a fiscal conservative. That fiscal conservative has bankrupted this country in the last year and a half. She voted for Nancy Pelosi to be Speaker of the House. She votes with Nancy Pelosi over 90% of the time. TARP, the bailout of Wall Street, stimulus, Obamacare, cap and trade, Pelosi's budgets that spend twice as much as they take in. That wasn't done by some liberal in Massachusetts or San Francisco. That's our representative. We can do better. We will do better than that. That is not the values of this district.
What can you do for us on the cost of living raise for Social Security that we're being denied at this time?
Yet, as they vote themselves pay increases, they deny you the cost of living increase. That's exactly what we get right now in Washington. The solution for Social Security, and this is the problem, because they bankrupted it, they're talking about raising the retirement age and they're denying people their COLA increases. That is not a solution. You have to protect people on it so they can survive at this point in time. The only way you do that is get more tax revenue to the federal government. And the only way you get more tax revenue is not by raising taxes. You get it by having more people paying taxes, more people working. We don't need the 10 people we have working paying 80% in taxes. We need 100 people paying 10% in taxes. That's what we need. We need to get out of this debt. Right now, we are on pace to be borrowing money by 2020 to pay the interest on our debt. That's disaster. That's unsustainable. We don't need 2-3% economic growth. We need 10%, 12%. We need double-digit economic growth for 2 or 3 decades to pay what these politicians have done to us. And that's what we need. Now, saying that, I know that sounds ominous, but that's easily doable if we get the government out of the way. I won't say easily doable, it's doable because of the infrastructure we have. We have an extremely educated and intelligent public. We have the infrastructure in place, the economy is huge. We are very appealing to business if our taxes and regulation policy were better. So we can do it. We can be that revolution again, that industrial revolution again. But will we? We're going to make serious choices this November, and then the next November and 2 years from now. We're going to decide whether to get out of this debt. We're going to squeeze every dime out of every American we possibly can and just throw it all away, or we're going to get back to where we were. It's a choice. How? Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Here's what we do. We immediately put a cap on federal spending and get it back to 2008 levels. Immediately. immediately start slashing the corporate tax rate. In my mind, corporate tax rate should be 0, because corporations do not pay taxes. They package them up in their goods and services, and we pay more for everything. That's all that happens. Do you think Walmart shrugs their shoulders and just takes it on the chin with profit when they raise the corporate tax rate? No, you just pay more for your paper towels. So every time they raise the corporate tax rate, they lower our standard of living. That's why you need COLA increases, because they keep taxing the daylights out of everybody. We need a 10% flat tax and nothing else. No death tax, no nothing else.
Bunch of IRS agents, wouldn't you?
Yes, you would. Oh, by the way, Gabrielle Giffords voted to add 16,500 IRS agents. 10% flat tax, eliminate all other taxation in this country at the federal level, and watch businesses explode. Watch them explode in this country, and put a cap on the federal spending. It's the spending that's the problem, because we have this liberal mindset in Washington. The president actually used the words, they passed tax cuts that weren't paid for. It's never your spending programs that weren't paid for. That's what's not paid for. The tax, that's our money. That liberal view of Gabrielle Giffords, that you exist, that we all exist just to fund the federal government so they can do what they want, has got to change. This government and this country exists to protect our liberty, period. That's all. And it's become something else. That our limited federal government, as the largest creditor, debtor, landowner, insurer, employer, is scary. Scary that we live there right now. But we can get it back. And so that's how we get the government out of our way. Because 300 million Americans can bring this economy back very, very quickly if we get out of the way. Carol?
When Jim Colby used to be the congressman here in this district, he would always hold town halls, and you could go and you could ask him questions and that kind of thing. I've tried to get a meeting with Gabrielle Giffords, and she won't ever meet with me. But her chief of staff guy, I guess his name is Gabe Zimmerman, told me that she had to sign this health care bill because it would cut the deficit by $100 billion. Now, I've tried to ask her where it was it cut the deficit, but I can't get a hold of her to do that. But 159 new agencies, how is it going to cut anything?
Creating 159 new government bureaucracies, adding 16,500 IRS agents, squeezing out the insurance industry. We're already seeing insurance companies go bankrupt and fail, which was their intention for them anyway, to eventually force us all onto some government plan where they get to ration our care. That's not America. We have to defund that program completely in 2010 and then repeal it in 2012. We have to. The whole thing has to go. The entire.
Since the approval of the, I'll call it Obama health care bill for lack of better terms, my primary care provider that I've had for 11 years with TRICARE dropped us because the reimbursement rates were getting so low. I called Gabrielle Giffords' office and asked her, or one of the speakers said, what do you want me to do? Help you find a new primary care provider? No, I'm a self-reliant person. I can provide my own primary care provider. I want them to properly fund what their obligations are and quit cutting, because the TRICARE reimbursement rates are based on the Medicare reimbursement rates. Okay, we're going to save all this money by cutting what the doctors and everybody gets. So now I have to go out and find new people and cost them more money, because now I got to go get a physical because it's my first time to visit the doctor.
Before Obamacare, Medicare was paying out about 20% less than market value, so 14% of doctors or so wouldn't take it.
Right.
They just diced $500 billion from us. All she's done to try to save the deficit or whatnot, which was a lie, to increase the deficit, she's lowered the access for care for everybody, not just for seniors, for everybody. She's lowered our access to care. We're all going to have some standardized top-down government plan that doesn't cover you for anything that's deemed to be too expensive. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir, and here I know that no one here probably wants government-run health care. It's such a disaster everywhere they try it. But that's our representative, currently, for another month.
How about our border, Jesse?
The border. Well, Janet Napolitano said it's as safe as it's ever been. I think we're fine. No. Look, It's not rocket science, build a double air border fence. It's already federally legislated, it's already passed, and everywhere they built it, they built it in San Diego and by the